welcome to Live Life with Jay. I'm Jay, and today we have a special guest. Like, I'm so excited for this special guest. You have no idea. We are going to talk today about fire, and the channel is Road to Fire. It has inspired me to look for my fire. So Road to Fire, tell us about yourself and tell us what is fire specifically.
Okay, that intro was amazing. I appreciate it so much. A little bit about myself. I'm a mom of one, married to my college sweetheart. I live in the Midwest. Started the channel about 9 months ago, and I have about 4,000 subscribers. I'm excited for everybody following along on my journey. And it's all about FIRE, financial independence, retire early, with the retire early part probably more close to recreational employment. So it's all about owning your journey, owning your schedule, owning your future through financial independence.
Yes, that's great. I'm telling you, I feel like I've heard about it here and there a few times, but your channel specifically was just like blew me away. I learned things that I've never known about. So I appreciate that you started your channel.
Thank you so much. You know, I really started it to kind of keep myself accountable on our journey. I'm not gonna lie, if you saw me a couple of years ago, our finances look nothing like what you see right now on the channel. So you guys are all seeing the good stuff. Took us a long ways to get to where we are today, but it's all about encouraging everybody else on their fire journey while motivating me. So everybody who comments, DMs, likes, follows, it's like a fire under my butt, all puns intended, to kind of keep me excited on my own journey. So I appreciate it. I appreciate this collab. It's awesome connecting with you, Jay.
Yes. So I guess too, what they're going to see is also that you're behind animation, so they're gonna know the animation. So it's a different type of interview, which makes it even more exciting. That even made me more excited. The top of the fire conversation, it's great. One of the things recently, one of your videos I watched was that there was like different types of fire. I was like, wait a minute. First there's just fire, now there's different types. Can you explain to us like briefly what they are?
Yeah. So I outlined 5 different types of fires, but there are several types of fires, as I just saw a video on 8 different types of fires. Essentially, create your own financial independence, retire early journey. There isn't a one size fit all. The 5 I looked at is lean fire. So essentially really cutting down on your expenses overall, getting really minimalist on the things that you buy, the things that you spend your time on, the things you spend your money on, and focusing on just having really low costs. That's kind of associated with lean fire. Usually your expenses are below $40,000 a year on average. There's the traditional fire, which is around that $45,000 a year on average expenses, either for singles, couples, or families. It's more so just saying, hey, this is how much we spend, and this is how much we're going to project in the next 25 plus years. So that's kind of the traditional fire. Most people are on that path. You don't cut out a lot of things. You still stick to your regular lifestyle. There's also barista fire, which has become a new fan favorite for myself. It's the idea of you don't reach fire 100%. You may reach it 50% or 60% and then do a part-time job to kind of supplement that other 40 or 50%. So essentially, it's you take a part-time small job at a coffee shop. That's where it gets its name from, or a grocery shop, or you're consulting. Instead of working the 40 hours a week, you work 20 hours a week, and your accounts and investments kind of cover the remaining. There's also fat fire, and fat fire is probably for those people who don't want to cut anything in their life. They love spending a little bit more. Usually your expenses are around $75,000 or more. You probably have a larger family and a higher cost of living city, such as San Francisco or New York City, and you know that your expenses are just going to be higher. So these people tend to have expenses over $75,000 a year, and they usually are having fire numbers up to 2.5 million. And then there's one that I'm not really familiar with, but it was coast fire. So there's a time where you essentially can reach your investments accounts, get to the point where it can kind of grow on its own without you supplementing at all. So for example, you can have about $40,000 invested, or let's just say $100,000 invested, and compound interest will get you towards your FIRE number in the traditional retirement age, like 60, 69. So it's a great way to say, hey, you know, if I didn't have to put another dollar in there, I know compound interest and the market will be able to get me there regardless. So those were the 5 different FIRE types. we're on our path towards fat FIRE with a little bit of barista FIRE in there. So we have a high number that we consider high for our medium to low cost of living city, but we expect to still work in some sort of form or fashion.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot of information. This is
Yes,
great information.
yes. Google is your friend. So definitely Google around and figure out what FIRE works for you. But most people stick with the traditional form around that 45,000 a year expense.
I like the idea of like the barista, because you could do like passive income coming in, right? And still.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or you have a side hustle, you have a small business or a large business, you have rental income coming in. There's a lot of other ways you can supplement your income outside of the traditional 9 to 5 or 8 to 5. So barista has become a really fun and new type of FIRE that I think more people are resonating with, because you can still have your investments carry a lot of the expenses, or the passive income you receive from your investments carry a lot of the expenses. And then you can essentially just have a small part-time side gigs here and there to help cover the rest. So it's a good balance to make sure that you still have the kind of life you want without working 40 to 50 to 60 hours every week.
Yeah, it's more comfortable.
Yeah.
So tell us about your, like, that aha moment that was just like, I need to do this. Like, what made you do it? What made you get started, or how?
Yeah. So I actually opened my first Roth IRA in 2012, and I was investing maybe like $10 a month. So I had no idea what to do with it. I wish I can go back in time and talk to my 20-something-year-old self and say, hey, girl, put a little bit more money in there. But it was around 2018, I found the Bigger Pockets Money podcast. And a lot of their podcast examples talks about FIRE and people's individual journey. So they talk about people when they start their journey from college all the way to them either reaching FIRE or being close to FIRE. And a lot of those podcast interviews were very inspiring. And there was one interview that was extremely inspiring. It was like a young lady talking about her income was like $40,000, and she reached FIRE. And I was like, wait, hold on. She's a single woman, 40,000, and she reached FI. And I'm like, how? How is that even possible? And here I am living paycheck to paycheck and with a household income over 200K, and I'm nowhere near FI. So it was a really, really big rude awakening for us that we were managing our money wrong. We were doing everything incompletely, just realizing that it's not about how much you make, but what you do with what you make. And so that episode that I listened to around 2018 or so, I can't even pinpoint which number the episode was on Bigger Pockets, changed my life. And after that, I started reading books. I'm binge watching all these YouTube videos. I'm listening to all these podcasts. It was like a mind change. And then COVID hit, and that's when we really propelled our journey from $2,000 a month investing to $6,000, $7,000 a month investing. So it was a really wake up call. We tasted a little bit of what it was like to not work in an office during this year that we've been in COVID. And I'm like, imagine if our whole life we can manage our daily schedule. And so we started thinking about it, and we just put it on hypersensitive drive for the last 18 months.
That was like a complete mindset change.
Oh, yeah.
Completely. It's so crazy. It gave me goosebumps, because you listen to someone who's only making 40,000, and you're like, I'm making 5 times that much, and I'm not even nowhere near. So, and I feel like people don't even realize that. It's usually the other way around. People making 40,000 watching you, and you're like, they're like, no, I can't do that. She's making this because she makes so much money, and that's not true at all.
Definitely not true. And she was debt free. She had no student loans. She had no car loans. She was still driving a relatively new car. I was just shocked. I'm like, what is happening here? And I'm realizing that I'm not managing my money correctly. I'm bringing in more money than she is, and a lot more is spreading and bleeding out each month. So it was just realizing that we needed to adjust how we're spending, get better at budgeting, get better at understanding what is a want and a need, and really starting to pay ourselves first was key.
Yeah. So that's inspirational completely. When we started our debt-free journey, we had one full-time income, one part-time income. And it's we were like, we can do this. And they tell people it's not impossible. You gotta, learn how to do your spending plan. And once you figure it out and cut things out, that after that, you're unstoppable. It's like sky's the limit after that. So would you mind sharing any of your goals for FIRE?
Yeah. So I have goals for this year. So every year we have goals. We break them down into quarterly goals and then monthly goals to just kind of keep us motivated. I'm a little anal with our goals. I think if you could see on the right side of me here, there's a whiteboard of all of our goals that we're kind of penetrating for the month of March here. And I can see yours too. It's all about keeping them visible and keeping them on top of mind. I do have reminders in my phone. So this year, our goal is to have a net worth around $500,000 in total. It's to invest over $75,000 after tax dollars into our brokerage accounts as well as our IRAs. It's also to make sure that our side hustle income continues to grow. So we had a lofty goal of being around $15,000. My husband is more entrepreneur than I am, but we have some side hustles that we've been working on and really pushing to get those goals above than what we currently are at. Some other FI goals that we have overall is to just try to make sure that we're on track. We also want to retire in a semi-retirement state in about 3.5 years. So we really need to get ourselves going. I'm working on a FIRE timeline video now, just trying to get us motivated towards that. Another FIRE goal we have is geo arbitrage. So we want to leave the United States, live abroad in more of a lower cost of living location and be closer to some of my husband's family so we can have that yin yang. What they say now is snowbirds is the term, I believe, where people are able to leave the winter and go down south. And so we would leave the winter and go abroad. And so that's like our FIRE goal long time. So those are our top 3 goals for this year in regards to FIRE.
That's excellent. So I'm about to drop down another YouTube channel because you made me think about it. Our Rich Journey. Are you familiar with her?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was like binging it the other day.
Love them. They have definitely motivated me. I think they did their FIRE journey in 8 years. I don't know what they started with, but they ended with like about 2.4 million, 2.5 million, and now they're abroad in Portugal. Absolutely love both of them and what they're doing, and their little girls as well.
Yes, it's amazing. Like that with your channel, then I think I found them afterwards, and I just was like, I just been binging, and I was just like, yes. I'm gonna do this too.
Yes, they make it so tangible. Like it's like everyday people, and I think you know, there's this notion that you can't be a millionaire, that you have to be a certain look and race and gender to be that stereotypical millionaire. And when I listen to these stories and see these podcasts, it's anybody can do it, you know, and compound interest does not discriminate. Everybody in the market gets it. Just a matter of where you're investing and how it works for you and how long you're in the market. So it's just exciting to see that that's like basically the only place where things are level ground is in the market, right? So you mean the stocks aren't discriminating against you, right? It's like, I bought you, I own you, and this is a part of my strategy. And then you can own an index fund, you can own all of them. So it's just a great way to kind of level things out. I think it's just getting the word out to more people that it's possible.
Yes. Now we're going to break generational curses and we're going to build generational wealth.
Yes. And you know, like my parents, they hit millionaire status, but they came to the States with about $5. You know, my dad was a janitor, 7 kids, making $4.50 an hour, right? You know, so I'm all for putting in the time, our investing and stuff like that, because I've seen it work. I've seen it actually work in my life, and I've been blessed to have parents that are financially sound. But I want that for my child. You know, when I'm 60, I don't want my child to be worrying about sending me $500 a buck every month for groceries. I want him to know that I'm good, I'm set. You know, you can enjoy your 30-year-old life. You know, so that's my ultimate goal. I think the best gift I can give to my son is financial independence for us, so that he can be free for his lifestyle.
And the best part is that you already started.
I know.
You already started for him.
That is the starting part, the little bit. And I was even saying, I'm jealous of my son. I wish I was 3 years old and then starting my financial independence journey at 3. You know what I mean? I mean, he could retire at 25, the way the market is and the compound interest and how we're investing for him. The sky is beyond the limit for him because he has more time in the market than any of us will have because he's 3, you know?
Yes.
So I'm jealous. I look at him, I'm like, your life is good. You know, as he's like eating blueberries and Cheerios, I'm like, you're living a good life, you know?
That's something else I learned from your channel. It is not FIRE related, but it was the fact that you didn't necessarily need to do a 5 to 9 plan. You were like, no, I'm gonna get a brokerage account, and you had other options. So I was like, Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that too.
And it came because my husband and I, we both got full scholarships for undergrad. So our parents did not pay anything for our student loan or education. We then worked to pay for our like room and board, which was maybe, a couple grand here and there. And so we worked side jobs, whatnot. But we realized that there's so many scholarship opportunities. It's very highly likely that my son will probably get some sort of scholarship opportunity based on his background, his athleticism, all these future things that I'm pouring into his life, hopefully. And also, college may not be the path for him, right? We live in a day and age where degrees don't determine your success rate, so it doesn't mean he has to work and be in the standard corporate lifestyle. He can be an athlete. He can be in a nonprofit. He can be in a trade school. He can also be in real estate, an entrepreneur. So I just didn't want to pigeonhole him into one type of path and face the penalty of not using that money for education. So I think there's a lot more opportunity and autonomy in having a brokerage account. I see a lot of couples doing both right now, still the 529 and the brokerage account. So we opted just for the brokerage account right now. Based on our income, we know that we wouldn't get a lot of tax benefits for the 529. So we just were focusing more on investing heavily in a brokerage account for him, being really risky, because he's 3. So he has the Tesla stocks and the Disneys and individual stocks. So he's not an index fund kind of a guy. He's that individual stock investor because he's 3 and he can be risky at his age. And so it's a great opportunity to try to build as much wealth we can before he hits that 18, 21 years.
Yes, it's perfect. I love it. I love your story. I thank you so much for sharing your personal details as well. For people who want to know more about the Road to FIRE, can you tell them where they can find you?
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel. That's probably where I'm most active. I post probably 2 times a week, maybe 1 or 2 times a week. So it's literally Road to FIRE, ROADTO, FIRE. There's no dots in between it. Then you can also find me on Instagram, Road to FIRE as well. And so that's an easy access there. So those are the 2 platforms that I am right now. Both of them has access to my email address, and I'm always willing to collaborate, have conversations and interview and just talk about money. My friends and family in person may not enjoy me talk about money all the time, but I love this community and how people love talking about money here. So that's where you can definitely find me.
Thank you so much. I am going to put your information on the screen, and I'm sure that you probably will put it up there too.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Road to FIRE. Before we go, is there any advice would you like to give to the viewers watching?
Yeah, number one advice I have is to start. If you have $10, open a brokerage account right now, start, invest. There's this notion that you need $1,000, $10,000, $20,000 before you can start. No, you need $1. You need $1 to start, and I'm pretty certain you can find $1 in your house. If not, ask somebody for $1, get an account and get going. I think that's the only thing that I wish I would have done was started earlier. And so just start now.
And you mentioned the notion about needing a certain amount of money. There's also the notion about that you should be debt free.
I know. There's a lot of gurus out there saying that you got to be debt free before you should invest. And I'm going to have an unpopular opinion, and I'm going to say no. The reason I'm going to say no is because you make a lot of money, or you make more money being in the market more over time, right? And so it's just time value of money over. And when you think about all the time you've lost when you focus solely on debt, on your debt journey, then you end up trying to catch up that time, and you essentially can't, right? You lose that opportunity. For example, 2020 had an outstanding market year. My investments account was up 30% in that 1 year. And a lot of people were like, I'm not going to be in there. You lose an opportunity being in that space. From 2010 to 2000 and let's just say 19, we had one of the greatest economic growth runs on the stock market after the Great Recession. Time that is lost when you're not in there. I always say prioritize your highest interest rate debt. Those are the key things. Anything under 4 or 5% to me is not something I would focus on, because I end up spending or making more money in the stock market as on average, because it makes around 8% adjusted for inflation. So that's where I usually focus on and how I split my debt. I have one more loan that I'm focusing on right now, but it has an interest rate of 3.5%. So it's not a key focus for me. So I always believe in a little bit of investing and a little bit of debt paying down at the same time.
Yeah.
I know it's not popular opinion, but it's worked for us.
It's so crazy because I know that it's because it's a specific person who feels that way, but the Instagram world feels exactly how you feel.
I feel that way. I feel there's a larger group of people who are on board with what I'm saying and what we're saying here. I think they just have a harder time coming out because I think that guru has a lot of followers and you get attacked. So like I'm seeing myself getting attacked a lot lately on some of my debt-free journey videos because I'm not aggressive or gazelle-like on my debt-free journey. But I'm not going to switch my strategy. It's kind of been working out pretty well the way we're doing.
No, it's great. I love the Instagram personal finance world. I've been following a lot of new people and they are pretty much like on the same path. They're like, if you have student loans left, invest at the same time. Just go for it. There was like, you don't need to listen to anybody else.
I know.
At least the people I follow are like so against that other
I know. And I'm just saying like the amount of time lost. For example, it could take you 10 years to pay off your loans, right? That's 10 years you're out of the market, 10 years of opportunity of compound interest just gone. It could take you 2 years, 3 years, just think about the time value of your money, the compound interest effects. There's tons of investment calculators online that you can just plug it in and say, okay, does it make sense to pay this off or that? And also like work with your lenders, right? Call them, adjust your interest rates, see if you have the opportunity to transfer your credit card balances to other 0% credit card balances offers. There's other ways to kind of make it work. Just figure out what might be the best strategy for you.
Yeah. It's great. I had decided myself personally, we just paid off our car. I don't have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund, so we're going to work on that now. And then after, we're going to invest into retirement and do our student loans at the same time. I was like, that's it. That's what I'm doing.
That's it. And that's your plan. And that's all that matters. It's your plan. It's your plan. And I'm realizing that not everybody's going to agree with my plan. I think my last video, somebody was like, millionaires don't have car payments. And I was like, okay. They don't, but I will. So, I mean, it's just like...
I'm a different type of millionaire.
I'm a different type. It's okay to be a little different. You know what I mean? It's just, everyone has their own path and their own journey and their own vision. And it's okay. And it's okay. And that's one thing I always want to stress when I put out my videos. My way is not the best way. My way is not the only way. Do what works best for you and your family and for your plans and your timeline.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. This is so much fun. I enjoyed talking to you so much. I'm going to continue watching your videos. Of course, they're amazing.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yours too. Don't be too shy about boosting about your channel as well. You have amazing content, definitely helping out women, particularly women of color. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So for you guys who do not follow Road to Fire, please follow. I'll have the description down below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, subscribe, please. So we are coming to the end. Thank you guys for watching. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below for us. Thank you. Bye.